The Mandalorian Grogu trailer just dropped last week, and we're diving into all the details in this video. So if you haven't seen the trailer, feel free to head over to YouTube and watch it and then come back here for the full breakdown. But if you're ready to jump in, let's get started. So the trailer kicks off with this really intriguing shot of a beach-like planet, and right away we get to see the Razor Crest soar overhead. Now, exactly we don't know how the Razor Crest made its comeback after getting blown up in the earlier seasons of The Mandalorian, but we'll get into that in a moment. So regarding this planet, it's got a mix of vibes here. It's got a Scarif feel from Rogue One with that beachy scenery, but it's also got a hint of Octo from The Last Jedi because of the vegetation. We really can't say exactly if it is Scarif or Octo, or maybe even a brand new planet entirely, but it's definitely got a beachy theme going on. Now on to the Razor Crest. It is back. We don't know how, I'm guessing they'll explain it in the movie, but it's interesting because it's back with a brand new paint job. It's kind of got this yellow and metallic silver combo that's typically shinier than what we used to see. If you remember, the N1 starfighter Mando flew was actually all silver, but in the prequels, the classic N1 from episode 1 had this iconic yellow and silver scheme. So the new Razor Crest design might be a little nod to that, or it potentially could be used from salvage parts. Next up, we actually get to see Grogu and Mando on that same beach planet, or at least I think it's the same beach planet that we talked about earlier. It looks like Grogu is actually casually peeking through this little telescope, and he's looking around. So we get to actually see a quick glimpse of some of the stormtroopers in the distance. Now, granted, they haven't transitioned into the First Order yet, even though we're kind of inching closer to that timeline, but it really looks like we're still seeing those in classic mirror stormtroopers here. And then we get this fun little moment where we get to see Grogu sneaking around in an underground tunnel. He's actually with one of those little Anzellan droidsmith species, you know, the same ones that we saw from The Rise of Skywalker with Babu Frick. So maybe they're sneaking around underground to avoid those stormtroopers we just saw. We don't know for sure, but it's definitely looking like they're onto something stealthy. Next, we're introduced to a brand new character played by the legendary Sigourney Weaver. Her character's name is Cornel Ward, and she's one of the key figures in the New Republic. This is a completely new addition to the movie, so we're definitely going to see some fresh New Republic leadership in the storyline. After that, we get this really interesting shot of the Mandalorian walking through a puddle on what looks like a pretty gritty underworld type planet. In the puddle, there's actually an illuminated sign in the background that says spice on it, which is a really neat detail. It definitely hints that we might be dealing with some type of shady dealings or underworld type elements here. This planet might be Corellia, but it could also be some type of other smuggler friendly type planet. We don't know for sure, but it definitely has an underworld type of vibe. Next, we see the Mandalorian in what looks like a bar, or cantina rather, on the same planet which I'm guessing the underworld sign was at. He's kicking, or let's say dealing, with an alien or person in a bar, and it seems like he might be tracking down a bounty, or at least trying to get some type of information out of them. This definitely gives off the classic Mandalorian vibe, where he's working on a lead or handling business in a shady spot. And of course, the next thing we see is something very reminiscent of Solo, a Star Wars story, where Han Solo himself interacts with Lady Proxima. We get this shot of a creature, or maybe a crime boss, that's emerging from the water, kind of like how Lady Proxima did in the movie. Now, we don't know for certain if this is some type of underwater creature, or maybe if it's another underworld figure, but it definitely is giving off some Grendelin vibes, the same species as Lady Proxima. Then we get this shot of the Mandalorian inside the new Razor Crest, and there's a nice little nostalgic detail here. You can see the same little control knob that Grogu used to love playing with is back again. Then we get to see the Razor Crest in a little bit of trouble, being chased by what looks like TIE interceptors. It's a little bit too blurry to be certain, but at least the shape and the silhouette are definitely reminiscent of those classic Imperial ships. Now we get this very interesting scene of Grogu actually swimming in water. Now this might just be a little simple shot of him having a little swim, but here is my guess. This could be the water on Mandalore where the mythosaur was found. Maybe Grogu is going through another type of ritual, or even connecting with the mythosaur via the Force. I know that might be a little bit of a stretch, but hey, that's a little fun speculation for you. And then we get our glorious king, Zeb Aurelius, back in live action again, doing some awesome moves. It was really great to see his return after we first caught a glimpse of him in The Mandalorian Season 3. It looks like he's going to have some pretty cool moments here as well. The next thing we see is Grogu running around in the speeder alongside some of those Inzellan species. It's kind of making me think that these little guys are going to have a bigger impact on the overall story, whether it be in The Mandalorian Grogu or just in general fleshing out some of the roles a bit more. It's pretty cool to see them getting a little bit more screen time. And next, we get to see the Mandalorian using his jetpack to fly up to a U-Wing. Now, I think this is the first time we've seen a U-Wing in live action since Rogue One. Of course, we've seen it in other media such as Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Squadrons, but this is the first time it's making its return into live action since then. Next, we get a scene of Rod the Hutt. Yes, Rod the Hutt from the Clone Wars is now returning into live action as a full adult. But as you can see, unlike a traditional Hutt, he looks relatively muscular, which is a great nod to Gracchus the Hutt from the old Star Wars comics. And the next scene that we see is the Mandalorian and Grogu sitting down in what looks like the same arena where Rod the Hutt was. They're observing, well, we really don't know at this point. It's kind of a mystery, but it makes you wonder what exactly they're watching. Next, we see a little battle breakout on what looks like a bunch of mangled droids that are all mashed together into some sort of makeshift bodyguard. On top of that, we get a quick glimpse of the Hutt cartel insignia on what looks like a vault door or maybe just a regular door behind them. So it kind of makes me think a little bit, maybe there's a Hutt behind that door, or maybe there's some type of treasure or bounty stashed right behind it as well. And with the Hutt cartel insignia on it, it makes me kind of wonder, is this planet they're fighting on Nal Hutta? It looks like Din's cycler rifle is also back in action, even though it was destroyed in The Mandalorian Season 2 when the Razor Crest blew up on Tython, so maybe he picked up a new one or maybe built another one. Either way, it's very cool to see this rifle come back. Next, we see the Mandalorian fight what looks like a new creature. It kind of resembles a Trandoshan mixed with a Rancor in what I believe is the Rod of the Hutt arena. The next scene we witness features an AT-ACT on a snowy bridge being blown up, and this scene really invokes that train heist from Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Good shot, baby.
And that's really it for this trailer. It's set to release May 2026, and honestly, I cannot wait. It cannot come soon enough. Hopefully you enjoyed this little quick breakdown of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie trailer. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to like, follow, do all those things.